when the market's confused. Steve strolls in with a chart and some probable news. Troy fires up Omega like, let's model this mess, while traders at home whisper, please help me stress test. It's the show where the candles dance. Volatility takes its chance. Steve says rules, Troy says math. Together they chart a hilarious path. Grab your lunch, don't be late. They'll tell you why the market's weird again. Oh, great. They're calling out levels, volatility rebels, equity drama, and index devils. One guy's calm, the other's pressing buttons fast. Is this bullish? Is this bearish? Ah, depends on the past. So tune in, laugh, and maybe learn to. These two make the chaos look almost doable for you. Every Tuesday at noon, hit that stream real quick, because markets are wild, and these two are slick.
Steve, I could honestly, I really do love that song.
I usually go to bed listening to that on my way to sleep.
Listen, it's that little part about equity drama, just the way that, anyway, I love it. Speaking of equity drama,
yeah,
I mean, if you would have told me yesterday about this time that we'd be back where we were, I would not have believed you. I mean, it looks like we're down 50 right now. Is that right?
S&P down 50. Yeah, yesterday it looked like we were going back up to all-time highs, and then today it looks like we're going to zero again.
I love that. I'm a big fan of that, but I'm a rare dog in that way. So have you put anything on today or anything like that, Steve?
I did not put on a 1 DTE iron condor. It didn't qualify, thank goodness, because that would be bloody. The only thing I've done is I've got a few of my British iron condor tranches that fired. All the put sides have been smoked out, but I did make some money on the longs on the way down, because I have my stop on the short options, and then I've got, so my call side verticals obviously are basically at 100%. And then my long puts, I kind of scaled out of those on the way down, so made a little bit of money on those. So a little bit green on that. I did 3 day trades, directional day trades this morning. The first one was in SPY. I took puts at the pre-market lows, and that one, you know, obviously we know what happened there. We had a really nice flush, and so made some money on that. It looked like we might have been starting to bottom, and IWM was really holding up. It was kind of chopping around previous day high. So I took some calls in IWM with a really short leash, and it dipped below. So I cut out of that one for a small loss. And then the other one I took was Apple. I took calls in Apple when it kind of broke back above its pre-market high, because it was showing some really good relative strength. Had a really big day yesterday, so I was looking for a potential continuation. Got a nice spike right off of pre-market highs, booked some profits. It came back down to previous day high, and the action looked like it was a good potential spot to add. So I added, and then it came down and I cut the rest. So gave a little bit back on the ad, but 2 winners, 1 small loser. So nice day of day trading so far. The one thing that, and I mentioned this in my trade plan to my community, I put out a trade plan video every month for how exactly I'm going to trade for the next month, every calendar month. So obviously February just started. And so one of my things with my directional trades is for this month, and probably forever, is I'm not entering any directional trades after the first 2 hours, and more preferable even within the first 90 minutes. And so couple reasons for that. Number one, I've been keeping rigorous stats and everything that I do with those through TradeZilla.
Yeah.
And so I have all the data now, and looking back over all my trades. And what I've found is that any trades that I take after the first couple hours ends up overall, I'm break even to a little bit red on all those
Mhm.
trades. So I'm literally sitting there wasting mental capital, wasting focus when I could be doing other things, focusing on other things. And for what? For scratch or maybe
Yeah.
just red, right? So I've really before I kind of emphasized that I had a little bit more of a focus to take trades early, but it wasn't a hard, fast. It was kind of a soft rule. And if I thought I saw something later, I would still take it. But I've kind of that's kind of the major change in my plan this month is I've made it really a hard, fast rule that I will not take any directional trades after the first 2 hours. So,
Man, I mean, I think there's a lot of wisdom in that, partly because the stats, to your point, bear it out. But two, there's mental capital. Like
yes.
revenge trading is a lot stronger a temptation at 1 p.m. than it is at 9:30 p.m. or 9:30 a.m. And so I think there's a lot of wisdom in that, and just
And
knowing.
the other thing is like when you're day trading with these short-term charts, it takes, like you said, a lot of mental capital. It takes a lot of focus. And just from a pure focus standpoint, right? It's really hard to be that focused for more than a couple hours. And so what I've found is, yeah, a lot of my mistakes, and you mentioned revenge trading and oversizing and over trading and all those things that come into play happen later a lot of times because it's just hard for the human mind to focus that long, or at least my human mind. It's hard for it to focus that long. So and I've only obviously been really focused on that as far as a hard rule the last couple days, but it's been great. Took 2 trades yesterday. I was done within the first hour. I took 3 trades today. I was done within the first 90 minutes. So I have the rest of the day to do other stuff, Troy. It's great.
That's the way to do it, and I wish I was there. But instead of being there, I'm sitting here looking at this chart, and this is my market profile chart, Steve. One thing I just wanted to show: have you ever looked at any market profile stuff?
I have, yeah, I've
Yeah,
I've dug pretty deep in it to be
it's
actually.
it's it's my favorite chart to watch. And one of the things it's every once in a while. This is actually an interesting thing, real quick, just to show you. Yes, this is yesterday's open. This line right here. This is ES 69.44. Notice how we're just kind of just bottom ticking, just kind of creeping. That's actually bearish, from a from a standpoint. Just looking at that, I expect, Steve, that probably one of two things is going to happen. I think we're going to touch that exactly, and then rally. I think we might blow past it and in kind of a 5 minute increment and then go back up. But it looks right now, at least, that it really wants to test that. Um,
So
it's
you're
just some
really looking for some EFG, HIJK, LMNOPs.
That's right. And the thing that's most important to me is the QRS and the TUV as well. And I never got as far as WX, but yeah. So that stuff's interesting to me. Just when you can watch kind of price action levels like that, just how the market's kind of tiptoeing around it. Clearly wants to try to touch it, but it's just the pressure's pretty big right now.
Yeah.
So anyway, did you do anything? Did you do any earnings in like Palantir or anything like that?
I did an earnings butterfly in PLTR. Obviously, PLTR has been pretty weak compared to the rest of the market for the last several weeks. And so, but, and usually, so when I do these, I've talked about how I do them. I just take a directional broken wing butterfly. If I'm bullish, I use calls. If I'm bearish, I use puts, and I have no risk to the side that I'm taking, that my assumption is on. So I usually do these either I have an assumption based on just looking at a daily chart of the underlying stock, or more often I really just take an assumption based on my bias of the overall market. So even though Palantir was weak, my overall bias in the market was up uh, after yesterday anyway. Um, and so I did a bullish call butterfly on PLTR. Um, it actually gapped up. It was right in fact, I can show it here. Let me share my screen.
I keep saying,
So,
yeah, sure thing, but I'm muted. So, yeah, sure thing.
Okay, let me share. So are you seeing my Thinkorswim? There we go.
Yep.
So it gapped up right to the peak of my fly at about 165 or so. So on these I usually just risk about $500. I've talked about this is not like a core strategy. I'm just kind of doing this for fun and usually risk about $500. So about 486, and it's currently up about that right now. So it's up about 100%. It was up more. I was focused on my day trades this morning, so I wasn't quick enough to take any off right at the open, where it was right at the peak. But looks like it's starting to kind of try to bounce right now. But anyway, that's where I'm at. I've got a nice profit, and if we get a little bit more of a bounce, I'll start scaling out. I just did a 3 lot, so I'll scale out a 1 or 2, and then try to squeeze some out and see if I can hold at least a part of it until the options expire on Friday.
Did you do Meta?
I did.
I'm trying to remember.
Meta was one of my big winners. Yep.
So, okay, I got it from you. That's what I was trying to remember. If I thought I got it from you, but I wanted to double check. Yeah, I did that Meta trade, and I was real happy with that Meta trade. And
yeah, that's a nice one.
Yeah, we talked about the way you do them. I think is smart. Just butterflies to the upside, or you'll do it to the downside every once in a while. But do a butterfly, small risk, can make a couple 100% if it really pins. Easy peasy, pretty nice.
Yeah, as far as upcoming earnings, so we also had PayPal before the market opened today, and that one it was way down. Let's see, where's that one now? It was down like 18%. PayPal is currently down 19%. So that one's not having a good day. I didn't take a trade on that one. But after the bell today, we've got a couple of big ones. We've got AMD and we've got SMCI. And then before the bell tomorrow, so if you're going to trade these, you'd want to do it before the day ends today, but before the open tomorrow is Uber and Eli Lilly. I will probably take a trade on AMD for sure, and then SMCI maybe. I'll kind of see what's going on with those as we head later into the day, with the market still making new lows as we speak. And then after the bell on Wednesday, we've got Alphabet, ARM, Qualcomm. And then after the bell Thursday, we've got Amazon, MSTR, Roblox, and Reddit. So got some, and Affirm. So got some good ones this week.
I'd like to look at maybe a couple if we have minutes. I know people reach out a lot of times asking about earnings stuff, and you're one of the earnings guys. So I'd like to maybe model some stuff out. I just closed, Steve. I'm not usually trading during our show, but I showed you that market profile because I wanted to say that's what happens, and sometimes, and we just broke, and
you did it.
Big winner. What
letters are we seeing right now?
Oh, right now, listen, this is all F, and it's going straight to FU. Looks like the market, but I put an ES. I've been doing these ES put spreads with vol with this stuff, and I'll do it at a level we were at previous a day. So in this case, I did 68.60 puts basically.
You're buying a put debit spread? Yeah,
put debit spread. I did the 68.60. What did I do? 68.65, 6,800 spread. Made like 500% on that in about a minute. Once that flush, and that's the thing is you get out. You're not trying to go for max. You're just trying to. I learned from Papa, and Papa just takes his pennies and collects the profit and gets out of there. So
tell me your strikes again.
68, 65. 6,800 day. Bought them for 35-cent debit, sold them for $2.35 credit.
Beautiful. Love it.
Yeah, I like it. I learn. I'm trying to learn, Steve. I put shows on our YouTube just so I can learn from people, and that's what we're doing. So would you be okay if we maybe modeled something out that you might do tomorrow, Alphabet or something like that?
Yeah, or we can let's do AMD. That's tonight.
AMD. That's today. Oh, good. Okay. So AMD.
So AMD is trading at about $242. It has it just hit all-time highs of 267, really right before its last earnings. Kind of dropped for a while. Now it's kind of ramping back up. I would go bullish on this one. So I would do the call side.
Okay.
So using the 3 DTE options, the February 6th, what you can see if you're looking at an option chain is we've got about the expected move between now and tomorrow is about $18. The expected move for Friday's expiration is about $21. So about $20 expected move. So it's trading at about 242. So that would put the expected move at about 262. So what I would do is I would buy my first call at about the 250 strike. And then I would sell the 262.5s. Do 2 of those. And then buy the 270s.
I like it. And I mean, it's a cheap debit, with the potential of, if you pin, making a couple 100% on that bad boy. And that's kind of the name of the game. It's just a pure move play. And I like this strategy partly because the way you're doing it is you look at what the expected move is and you're trying to sell that. And that's, I mean, have you tried a bunch of different stuff and you just figured out that's kind of what I want to do? Or how did you come up with that? I mean, it's not,
Yeah,
obviously it's not like rocket science, but like it's smart.
Yeah, I used to do a lot of just delta neutral and, then it would move to the expected move to the upside or it'd move to the expected move to the downside. And either way I would lose or, it'd be a break even type trade. So I just started taking a little bit more of a directional assumption. And then with the idea in mind that, yeah, a lot of the times that's kind of the area. If it makes an up move, that's a lot of times where it moves to. And if it moves to the downside, that's a lot of times where it moves to on the expected move to the downside. So just like PLTR, I mean, that thing moved basically right to the expected move. Of course, it came down right after the market opened when the market started crashing, but it just tends to be a good point of interest to kind of target. And so, yeah, putting that butterfly peak right at that expected move has tended to work well. The only thing that I got to do now is get better at guessing direction.
Yeah, that's the guy. Listen, for every meta, I have a Microsoft where I took a bullish tent and it did not go the way I wanted it to go.
We were actually talking about Watson and I were chatting in the community or during Power Hour yesterday, and he mentioned he's like, since it's kind of a coin flip picking the direction, have you thought about just doing the same direction every single time and not worrying about it? And I think there's some validity to that. In fact, if you've kind of noticed the trades that I take, I would say probably 90% of the time I go bullish on these.
Yep.
And so that's, I think that's, instead of trying to guess which direction every single time, I don't think there's anything wrong with just picking a direction every single time and just sticking with that. You're probably going to come out just as good or better.
No, I think that's right. I don't have any really hard statistics on like earnings directions. My theory is that they're probably up usually.
Yeah, I mean the market's designed to go up, so that's part of why I just take a bullish stance.
Well, listen, we continue to fall, and will you put those BICs on throughout the day? We talked about first 90 minutes for direction, kind of day trading. As far as those neutral selling strategies, how far in the day will you go with those?
As long as there's premium, I will continue to sell tranches on those. Yeah. I don't have any statistical data to back this up, but maybe somebody with like a back testing tool or something that could help me with this. But one thing that I have anecdotally kind of realized is that when we get a big flush like we're seeing today, That is typically a day when my British iron condors do not perform well, because if we get any kind of a short squeeze, right, we've kind of hit all the puts on the downside. We get that, inevitable short squeeze that comes after every drop, whether it comes today or tomorrow or whenever. If it doesn't come today, that's fine. But if we do get an intraday big drop and then a short squeeze, that typically is when I have my worst days, because that is double stop territory, right? You get hit on the put side, then it rips back up and hits your call sides. So I'm not really, I need to do more. I need to do a deeper dive on that to see if there's any validity to my theory. But, a day like today is not necessarily a day when I want to start loading up on those. I prefer to really allocate more and more tranches if we are more in a stable market / even a grind higher.
So yesterday was a much better day as far as like those strategies are concerned.
Yesterday was a terrible day, actually.
Oh, sorry, sorry,
Well, but not based on that. Based on the fact that my entries just happened to take place right at the peak or the trough of those little dips.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite, Steve.
And so it's just kind of unlucky as far as my entries go. But yeah, so yesterday was actually a terrible day on those. Which, looking at a price action chart, and during the day I was doing the same thing. I was like, that doesn't look like I should be having as bad of a day as I'm having on these. But yeah, it just kind of swept both sides multiple times and kind of put me in the red.
Yeah, no, that certainly happens. Well, listen, we keep going, Steve. Tomorrow, AMD, be looking at that. I'll send the model there for you. Save the model if anybody wants to see that. In fact, let me just do this real quick. I'll just put that in the show notes here, the chat. You guys got that? If you have modeling, you can look at that and monitor it. So, Steve, it sounds like you're done with directions for the day, and maybe tranching some more. And hopefully, for your sake, we don't go down 100 more points, especially now that I'm out of my puts. I'm fine with that. So,
all right. Sounds like a plan.
All right, man. Well, listen, have a great rest of your trading day, guys, and we will be back next Tuesday. So see you soon. Bye-bye.
Cool. Cheers. See ya.